you're going to have to forgive the hat hair because it's cold here and I had that hat on earlier. So today I want to talk about 5 things that I have really no longer give a flying rat's behind about since I have hit this age group. Probably gave up some of it before I hit 50. Definitely in the year and a half since I have hit 50, I have kind of given up most of this and really don't even care about it. So I kind of came across it because I was trying to come up with some ideas and topics to see what was out there, already out there about women in midlife. And I see a lot of these videos about how, women kind of stop being the peacemaker in the family and the caregiver. And I never had those roles because I never had a family. Even as a child, I was an only child. So I started trying to think what were things that I have stopped doing that might resonate with others. Being too independent, I think I worried way too much about that in my younger years, or at least in my 30s. How people would perceive me, especially men in the dating world, that maybe I'm too independent, too opinionated, too strong. Um, and I worried about that probably more than I should have. But it comes from being raised by a single mom, not having a dad, not having any siblings. I had no one to rely on other than my mom and my grandmother. When I was very young, my grandmother lived with us and she took care of me after school. But at some point, she moved out to go take care of her parents, my great grandparents. And I was on my own and, coming home from school. And I distinctly remember it was 5th grade because I had a little keychain of Wicket the Ewok. So I was 10 years old. It's 1983. And I had that keychain with my house key on it. And so I was a latchkey kid. So, I learned how to cook and I had to do everything on my own from the time I was quite young. Never had anybody to, rely on or to go fix things so I learned how to be self-reliant, very self-reliant. And at times I feel like I used to feel like that was almost a hindrance to, I don't have somebody to lean on and everything falls on my shoulders. And there are days that I feel that way. And I just, like this past week when it snowed, I didn't have anybody to help me clean my driveway, clean my car. I have to do it all myself. And there are days when you get tired of that. But I think overall, having the ability to be self-reliant and to do for yourself and take care of yourself is a highly, highly valuable skill to have. We used to joke in my former job about our zombie apocalypse team, and we would take everybody's strengths that we could do, and I could do so many different things because I've had to over my life from a young child to today. I've had to do a lot of things. So I didn't see the value of the self-reliance until probably past few years. And really since my mom died, that's been way, way in my forefront of my mind that I have to do everything. I have no family and I have friends and I have coworkers that would help me out, but I just really don't have that person to rely on. And I think that I worried too much about that, and now I see it as a very, very valuable thing to have. It's kind of like the people who are helicopter parents and are raised by helicopter parents, and then when they get out in the real world, they don't really know what they're doing. Don't even get me started on that. I encountered so many helicopter parents when I used to work in higher ed. So you're doing your kid a disservice by being that. And, I may be the extreme on the other side of having too much independence, but now I see it as something that's a whole lot better than I used to. And kind of piggybacking on that is the view of myself from other people. Again, it goes back to some early childhood things. My mom was very much, what would the neighbors think kind of person that, she wanted to put on a good face for the public. And I can remember I was very, very young, maybe just starting school. And she told me never to tell anyone that we shopped at Goodwill and thrift stores and yard sales, because she was ashamed of it. Of course, granted, this was like the late 70s, and it may not have been, thrifting wasn't a thing then, but she was quite ashamed of us, sometimes being poor and not having a whole lot of money. And so I think that weighed on me, like how I put myself outwardly to others, how other people see me. Because I remember she used to say, "Don't tell anybody. We get it at our store." She named it our store. And me, even today, if I had a kid, I would say, I don't care. We got it at a thrift store. But thrifting is a whole big thing now. It may not have been as had such a, maybe more of a positive view that it has now than it did then, because you're upcycling, you're recycling, it has a lot more positive connotation now than it did maybe back then. So that's kind of been the story of how I've lived, having to put on a facade of these things. And I remember, you know don't tell people this, don't tell people that. So as a young dog, it bled into my life then, and I thought, how are people going to perceive me? One of the things I used to really, really be, probably I was way too concerned about, is being a single woman. And then when I got a job in the library, there's a lot of stereotypes about what a librarian is, and I really fell into that for years, that I'm going to be perceived a certain way. And it it's you waste your time. However somebody's going to perceive you is how somebody's going to perceive you. They're going to think you're stupid because you're overweight, or you're a slob because you're overweight. That's on them. It's not on me. And it took me a long time to learn that. But now I'm like, whatever, it's on you. If you have that preconceived notion, or you've made this assumption based on something, it's not true. I don't have to justify my existence or myself to you. Not you, but the collective you. I don't have to do that. So that was one that I've just recently come to understand that. And I think sort of going into that also is, you hear, there are two things that kind of go together: act your age, and the whole concept of you're over the hill, or you're on the backside of life because you're a certain age. And those two things, they kind of go together in a way. But I've encountered people who are kind of both ends of the spectrum. I have the people who think, "Oh, you just act so childish. You like Harry Potter. You like unicorns. You like whatever these silly things that you like. You're just like a kid. You're just like an adult child." And, well, first of all, what's wrong with that? It's okay if you like something, and you maybe still like it from your childhood. Not that Harry Potter was my childhood, but, you could like something from that time and still enjoy it. And, other people criticizing you for whatever it is that you enjoy again, speaks more to them than you. Also, my job is, I work with children, and I need to know things like, Bluey's so popular right now, Blippi and Dogman, and I need to know all of these things that kids like now, because it's so important to my job. There's not enough Bluey or Paw Patrol books out there that I could fill my entire bookmobile full of those things and still not have enough. So, part of that is my job, but I also love to give that wonder and sense of, the whimsy and all of that, to pass along the joy of reading. So a lot of it does have to do with my job, but I am one of those kind of people that I enjoy what I enjoy. And because I'm not 12 years old doesn't mean I can't like unicorns. I still love unicorns. I actually was more of a Pegasus girl back in the day. I loved Pegasus. Actually, Clash of the Titans, Pegasus was my favorite. it reminds me of the quote from Warren Zevon, enjoy every sandwich. Life is too short to worry about stuff like that. Am I being too childish? Well, there's a difference between being a petulant child and acting like a petulant child and just enjoying something that's from your childhood, or something that is fun and cute and something that you enjoy. And a lot of things, children we lose that sense of wonder. We lose that sense of wonder and enjoyment and whimsy when we get old. And I think that's one of the wonderful things about working with kids, is that you see them still just so excited about some of the most simple things, like drawing a picture or coloring sheets, or whatever it is that we have for them. Or they get so excited about a character in a book, and you just don't lose that joy. And the whole act your age, I was told that when I was a kid, act your age, like, well, what does that mean? I'm 12, what am I supposed to mean here? So I think that's been one thing that I've embraced, that, it doesn't matter how old you are. And if you enjoy things that are considered childish, enjoy them. Then that leads me into the whole idea of over the hill. People talk about being over the hill, or they talk about when they hit 40, remember the black, everything's in black because you've turned 40 and life is perceived to be over. And there's so many things that you can do after you hit a certain age. You don't have to be held back by that. And what bothers me is that the one thing that bothers me the most is that it seems like, and I've seen this a lot recently, is that somehow if you're over 50, you are like some idiot when it comes to technology. And I don't know if it's just a younger generation's perception that somebody who's 50 should be a dinosaur and they're not up on technology, or it's from older people kind of projecting their insecurities on their age group. But you have to remember, Gen Xers, we were born analog, but we grew up digital. We had the first video games. We had Atari. We had, Pong, arcade games. We had all of that growing up. So we were the first generation to have home computers, and first generation to have cable TV, and smartphones and everything. We have progressed through that time frame. So I don't understand where this notion that once you hit 50, you've got to be a little gray-haired old lady now all of a sudden, and you don't know anything about technology, and you're standing there waiting for the grandkids to come help me because I don't know. And it's like, oh, I gotta go play bingo now because I'm 50. That kind of, it just makes me so mad. I'm ready to go learn other things and keep doing what I love doing and exploring, and but that's part of me. I like lifelong learning, so that maybe it's just me, but I definitely don't see myself as over the hill, and I probably never will. And I'm not going to go around comparing meds to people and doing all these other things that you seem to talk about on like when you're an older person. And I don't want to be that older person. I want to be, I want to try to be as young as I can, as long as I can. And to me, age is just a number. There are days that I don't feel like I'm 51. I feel like I'm lucky if I feel like I'm 14. And then there are days that, I've shoveled too much snow out of the driveway and my sides are hurting and I'm really feeling my age that day. But it's not because I'm old. It was just because I'm out of shape and I needed to, I stretched some muscles that I didn't stretch. I didn't have to warm up. So, yeah, over the hill, just. And a big one that I really hit home for me after my mom passed was this need for stuff. You remember George Carlin's routine on stuff?
That's all your house is? It's a place to keep your stuff while you go out and get more stuff.
The whole idea that we need to accumulate things. And I know there's a big movement, especially when you get older, to downsize and, move to a smaller house because your kids are grown, whatever. Well, that's not going to be an issue for me. But when my mom passed, she had so much stuff, and so I never, I think for her it was a security thing. I don't know like the psychology of a hoarder. I would really have loved for her to go and talk to somebody about that, but she was about accumulating things, and but what happened was she left it behind. She left all of it. I don't, and most of it's not important to me because it was stuff that she accumulated in the past 10 years or so. So it wasn't like valuable family heirlooms. It wasn't something from my childhood. It wasn't something from her childhood. It wasn't something that had a sentimental value or meant something to her. It was just crap she accumulated. And my friend Michael mentions that a lot. He's like, you don't become your mother. And I'm like, I really, I do not want to become that. I do not want to be one of those people that have just stuff everywhere. I'm messy. I agree. I admit that I'm a messy person. I'm creative. So they say that a messy brain and a creative brain are the same. Um, but yeah, the accumulation of things, I even noticed that this year with Christmas. I have a few things, but I bought a couple of things, but just I don't even shop anymore to buy random stuff anymore. I used to do it, but I've really tried really hard over the past couple of years, especially the fact that I have a small house and I don't have storage. That plays a big role in it. But yeah, just that accumulation of things that I don't know why we do that. So those are the things that I have kind of pinpointed as things that I don't care about as much as I used to. I don't put a lot of effort into it or stock into having things or how people perceive me. Um, so I'd be curious to know if you have went through this metamorphosis or this change, or if you're starting to think about stuff like that. What are some of your things that you've kind of given up or stopped caring about? Um, Let me know in the comments. It would be interesting to see how other people kind of answer the question. What five things do you no longer give a flying rat's butt about anymore? So thanks for watching. See you next time.